Hello, welcome back. Let me share my screen. All right, so this is probably our last lecture. And our body has this one showing you the major muscle in our body, major like skeletal muscle in our body. So you can see that each muscle organ has a name. Pectorals, the deltoids, these are like general name of this muscle. Biceps, triceps, quadriceps, and ab abdominal, rectus abdominis, oblique, the gluteus. In our lab, we dive into their different kind of components of this group of the muscles. And so that's just, this is the easiest form that I can find from our book. And so if I have an example quiz, I will just use this one. So make sure that you are able to label all these muscles. Yeah. So there are different kind of muscle. We can classify this muscle into different kind of shape. So we can classify muscle into different way. Earlier we talked about some muscles fibers. You know, inside of this muscle organ, we have fast twitching muscle, slow twitching muscle. We have different kind of way to classify them. But in terms of the entire organ, muscle organ, they can be classified based on their shape. If muscle fiber can be parallel, can be fusiform, so different kind of distribution or orientation of these muscle fibers, or circular. So this one doesn't attach to any bone, even though that's skeletal muscle. But we commonly see this one, they just attach to each other. But when they contrast, they make this circular become smaller. So there are different kind of shape. Their physical alignment and that determine the shape of the muscle. We can also classify the muscle based on their action, their function. If because muscle are attached to bone, so the bone, there will be the attachment of the muscle to the bone. We can determine this attachment to either the origin of the muscle or the insertion of the muscle. So there are different kind of attachment to the bone. If that attachment doesn't move if the muscle contrast doesn't move that bone, we call those attachment the origin. If the muscle contrast move this bone, we call that attachment an insertion. For example, this is the biceps right here. These biceps. So these biceps attach to the bone at different attachment. You can see that here it has multiple attachment. And when this muscle contrast, it would leverage this radius moving up. So we call this attachment an insertion. We call these two attachment the origin. So we can also classify the muscle based on their function, as I try to mention about. For example, this muscle is one to do the flexion. We call this muscle the primary agonist. So right here. Here is the primary agonist, primary mover for the flexion of this angle. In order to make this movement to be smoothly functional or smoothly movement, we can not only have this muscle, we also have some more muscle. So for example, here is another muscle, brachialis. This one also do the flexion. It's not a primary one. It's a supportive one. We call this supportive one a synergist. So all these are working toward the same goal, which is to conduct a flexion of this angle. So that's that. We have the agonist and the synergist to work together for the same action. We also have another group muscle for that action. That is the opposite side of this muscle. In order to make this movement to be smooth, we need to relax the other side of the muscle. So the other side of the muscle is not the agonist. We call this the other side of the muscle the antagonist. Anta means against. So it's they don't. When they contrast, they will do the opposite thing as this muscle do, as this muscle does. And so this is called the antagonist. So to allow you to have a smooth movement, you really need to, or our nerve really need to excite the agonist, excite the synergist to make it contraction. At the same time, we need to inhibit the activation from the agonist, antagonist. Yeah, so that's that. In situation that our nerve can stimulate both muscle, which is not good because we can either stimulate one to do one action. If you in the same time stimulate the other one, then this bone is pulled by both direction, and then you're gonna have a tremor in a way or shivering in a way. And so this would commonly seen in the situation where the patient has a seizure, both nerve are get fired, are fired, are firing just uh, abnormally. They are not firing in the right way, and so they will excite both muscle, and then the patient will have a muscle tension on all of the muscle, and then the action become like tremor or shivering, shaking in a way. And so that's just a symptom or a phenomena when the motor neurons doesn't fire accurately. Yeah. So that's that. So that's the overall we need to know about the skeletal muscle. And we also have two other type muscle. They are cardiac muscle and smooth muscle. So I'm just going to summarize these two all together. In our earlier lecture, when we talk about the tissue, we know that uh, skeletal muscle has a feature which is single cells, has multi-nucleus, is striated. This one connect with the bone. Cardiac muscle has a feature. Cardiac muscle is also striated. And the cardiac muscle is the muscle for the heart. So that's its feature. Smooth muscle doesn't have this striation. Smooth muscle is a muscle for the tube, including the vessel, including the digestive tube. Internal organ are made by the smooth muscle. Yeah, so that's that. So this slide showing you that the summary of the cardiac muscle, that is a muscle to construct our heart. This muscle is also a striated muscle, just like skeletal muscle. And with the striation, we now know that this striation is because the thin filaments and the thick filaments are aligned very well. Thin filaments are attached to the Z line, and the segments of this defined by these Z lines between two Z lines is called sarcomere, right there, sarcomeres. So that's that. So we see the sarcomeres in skeletal muscle. We also see sarcomeres in cardiac muscle, but we won't see sarcomeres in smooth muscle. Smooth muscle do not have this striation. So when the cardiac muscle contrast, they don't contrast individually, they will contrast all together, and then that will squeeze the whole chambers, and then that can squeeze the blood out of the chamber. So, so that's the unique part of the muscle. Each muscle only contains one nucleus. Here is the smooth muscle. So smooth muscle, you see that it doesn't have the striation. And we see the smooth muscle in the tube, in the blood vessels, in the digestive tube, in the digestive tract. So for example, here, this is the organ. All these visual organs are formed by smooth muscle. So you can see this is organ, this is stomach. Stomach muscle is smooth muscle. Yeah. All these organs are formed by smooth muscle. All the muscle are controlled by nerve. So here is also the nerve. So these nerve are motor neurons. They stimulate the muscle for the contraction. But we also know that nerve, it's just like this one here. So let me show here. Like this one here. These are the motor neuron control our skeletal muscle. This nerve is connect to the brain. So this muscle contraction is by your voluntary control. But we also know that the stomach doesn't really control by your brain. You cannot control your stomach to do any action. The muscle doesn't really operate by your voluntary willingness, right? Doesn't following uh your decision making, etc. So in that sense, what are these nerves? What are these nerves to control the stomach? So this nerve is called autonomic neurons or autonomic nervous system. Our body's muscles are all operate by the nerve. We have three type muscle: skeletal muscle, smooth muscle, cardiac muscle. Skeletal muscle is operated by the nerve that is controlled by your uh, free willing, whether you want to do it or not, controlled by your free will. However, the other two muscles also controlled by the nerve, but this nerve is not your free willing. This nerve is called autonomic nervous system. This nerve basically is controlled by your emotion or mood or situation. Autonomic nervous system has two branches. One is called sympathetic, that is fight or flight. The other one is parasympathetic, that is digesting and resting. So this nerve, stomach, and all your smooth muscle and heart muscle is influenced by your autonomic nervous system. If you are fight or flight, the sympathetic nerve activate, they will act on your heart, pump faster, stronger, because you need to fight or fly. So that's the heart. When you are in opposite situation, like you are not fight or flight, you are resting and digesting, then the parasympathetic nerve will activate the digestive system. They will start to make you feel ready to take the meal, and the stomach will start to release the uh, uh, enzyme or uh, uh, gastric juice, and then it will help you to digest the meal, digest the food. Your mouth will start to release saliva, and so that's that. So this nerve is the autonomic nerve system. Just give you the idea that just this one show you the example that all our muscle is 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 controlled by the nerve. It's just they are controlled by a different branch of the nerve. We have the voluntary control. We also have autonomic control. So that's that. All right. So this table summarizes the difference, key features of these three type muscle. Skeletal muscle is attached to the skeleton. It control the bone movement. at the joint. So body movement basically is voluntary control. Each cell has nuclei, and it has a striation. This one show good transverse tubule system. Basically show transverse like striation appearance, voluntary control, and it can control by your uh, uh, voluntary. It can contrast, relax quite quickly. Yeah, even though we know that they are fast twitching muscle and slow twitching muscle. Smooth muscle contrast slower. They are our visual organ, including the blood vessels, including the digestive tracts. This control is involuntary, and also here, cardiac muscle is involuntary. They are controlled by the autonomic nervous system. Smooth muscle do not have striation, single nucleus, like cardiac muscle, single nucleus. There is no striation, and they are the muscle of the visceral stomach, and their contraction is called peristalsis. Basically, they will just squeeze, and there is in order to push the either the fluid or the food moving forward. Yeah. So this smooth muscle present in the visceral wall, stomach wall, for example, and the vessels, digestive tracts, all of those are smooth muscles. Cardiac muscles form the heart wall, from the heart. It contracts to push the blood, so it's induced, causing the heart pumping. It has a striation. Single muscle has only one nucleus, and so good transverse tubule, meaning that it has good striation appearance. It's involuntary. You cannot mentally voluntary or based on your willing to control it. It's controlled by the autonomic nervous system. And yeah, it can be self-excited. So your heart pump, there is a pacemaker to cause a contrast. So that's all you need to know about the muscle anatomy. We are not really spend too much time talking. We touch a little bit about the physiology, but not a lot. But at least you know the structure, how does it function, just in the basic level, and yeah. So that's that. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, bye bye. Let's see how do I start it.